The greater story of the vampire is the study of mortality. It's a study of the one human life. Because they have this dark gift given to them where they can live for a number of different lifetimes, it's sort of like a fable to study. It sort of poses the question, what would you do if you could live 10 lifetimes, right? Don't worry, they're cheering for me. They're getting warmed up, they're rehearsing. Thank you.
When we finish this ritual, the Hollow is going to live inside of the Mikaelsons. Anytime they are anywhere near her, she is not going to be safe. You can never see each other again, ever.
How can you fight your enemies while also fighting yourself?
Your vow, the promise of always and forever. All the pain that went with it. All the love, the family you cherish. The vow that you have honored. Forget it. Let it go.
It's a study of human existence and actual mortality. I mean, it's the whole reason why religion is so ubiquitous, It's because we're so terrified of dying. We're so terrified that this might be the only life. And I think once you accept that it is, it can be a much more beautiful experience, and you'll probably love it a lot more. But a lot of our storytelling is invested in this idea of eternity and living forever.
I'm going to start way back when you start in Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a while ago. Are you a comic book fan?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to love 2000 AD, and I adored Rogue Trooper, Strontium Dog, ABC Warriors, Judge Dredd. I loved the freakish ones, the weird ones. I liked them because they were non-traditional. They were sci-fi, but they had a weird dystopian future, and they had these strange, very violent themes, which really appealed to me when I was a kid. And also, I was a decent artist when I was a kid, and I used to draw comics all the time. So, for me, the greatest source of inspiration was an artist called Simon Bisley, who used to draw Slain and ABC Warriors. Yeah.
And what was your comic about?
Well, I drew hundreds of different comics. I drew mostly nerdy stuff about Dungeons and Dragons. I drew Vietnam soldiers. I drew all kinds of sort of futuristic warriors. It was usually just guys with weapons, is what it was. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Have you ever shown it to anyone, like now going to convention stuff like?
It never really took on a narrative. I never really intended to tell stories with them. I just wanted to draw pictures, and it was really interesting to me until I got to about, I guess, like high school, and then girls became more interesting.
Then again, you played on both the Vampire Diaries and the originals. Do you think your character changed a lot, show to show, and just character-wise?
He changed a lot during his time on the Vampire Diaries. I mean, he changed a lot, while he was there. He was silent and quiet and super interesting and enigmatic in the beginning, and then he became... then they wrote a whole lot of things for him to say because I'm a good actor and I can say things well and fast, and they sort of used me as a sort of an exposition vehicle, where I think my strength was that when I was quiet and just killing things, it was much more interesting.
I always noticed on the show, people tend to get dead a lot and come back, and staked and come back. Did you ever keep count of how many times you've been staked?
No. In the absence of being able to write a satisfactory drama, I think that we just went to places where we thought, well, we'll just murder our characters. Rather than have a meaningful conflict, it was just easier for them within the context of the show to just sort of murder someone. Everything ended with a knife for a while there.
A question that our readers sent in. Of course, unfortunately, the originals has been cancelled. But in the end, how did it feel to be the final one who got to stake with the White Oak, Niklaus?
Yeah, I mean, I was also dying too, you know. So it wasn't just the moment. And really, the show was about the two of them, you know. How did it feel? It just felt like. It actually felt like the ending I thought we'd always have, in terms of like, but the way that we got to that moment, was just the only peculiar part to me. I was just like, I just didn't understand why. I knew why Klaus was doing it, but I didn't know why Elijah was doing what he was doing. We were just exhausted by that stage. It took me months to get over those last few weeks. It took me months to recover, actually. Like, we were just so tired and we were working so hard, and we didn't have a showrunner. Wasn't anywhere to be found when we were working in Atlanta. So we were just sort of on our own. It was hard. It was just a really hard time, and I think that the cast felt very, there was an enormous amount of sort of tension and sadness and relief and kind of anxiety and resentment, and it was a really interesting time. It was sort of a bit of a perfect storm because we were all away from our families, you know, and I think that it was just difficult to be doing it when we felt that we just felt adrift.
Another show where you didn't kill people, but you tried to save them, as on Saving Hope as a doctor.
Where I also died.
I was just gonna say that you just think, oh, let's change it, and it was also supernatural, of course. So.
Yes.
What was the appeal, and did you know where your character was going, that you were gonna die on there as well?
No, I didn't know, but I needed to. I asked them to kill me. Because I was just too strung out doing both shows. You know, it's too difficult. I was flying between two cities, and I had new babies, and it was just too.
That's got to be tough. Yeah, it's a lot of.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there are people out there who certainly work a lot harder than I do, but at the time I was just going crazy, and I wasn't sleeping.